You've got to start understanding this right now. Not everything that happens in your life is supposed to make sense in the moment. You're not always going to get the why right when you want it, and that's where most people trip up. They want answers now, they want certainty, but life doesn't work like that. And more importantly, God doesn't operate on your timeline or your logic. The truth is, the patterns of your life aren't always visible while you're walking the path. You only see the full picture when you zoom out years later, maybe even decades. That's when you finally get it. That's when you look back and say, oh, now I see what that pain was about. Now I understand why that door had to close. Now I get why that person left. But in the moment, you felt abandoned. You felt lost. You thought things were falling apart when they were actually falling into place. See, most people try to predict God's plan based on their own limited experience, like trying to complete a 1,000-piece puzzle with only 3 pieces in front of you. It doesn't work, it just breeds frustration. You have to understand just because you don't see the connection yet doesn't mean the connection isn't being built. Think about it like this. Ever driven through fog so thick you can barely see 5 feet ahead? That's life sometimes. You still keep driving right. You don't stop the car and give up just because the whole road isn't clear. You trust the process. You believe the road is there. That's how you've got to move through life when you don't have all the answers, with faith in the direction, not full clarity in the details. And here's the most important thing. You are not being punished just because life feels hard. You're being positioned for strength, wisdom, growth, and alignment with something way bigger than your current understanding. That failed job, that heartbreak, that missed opportunity, you might not see it now, but it might have saved you from something that didn't serve your long-term purpose. So many people quit in the confusion. They throw away the mission because they don't see the map, but real maturity is when you learn to move forward even in the fog. Real strength is trusting the blueprint without seeing the whole thing yet. That's faith, that's discipline, that's wisdom. God's ways are not just mysterious, they're strategic. You're not here by accident. That delay wasn't a mistake. That silence wasn't neglect. That twist in the story, that wasn't failure, it was foundation. You're not lost, you're being led, but you've got to keep moving to discover what it was all for. Only then will you look back and realize it was perfect all along. Let's get this straight. Pain is not punishment. It's precision. Most people want comfort, clarity, and control, but they miss the deeper truth. The pain you're trying to avoid might be the exact tool being used to prepare you for what you've been asking for. You want strength, it's built in struggle. You want wisdom, it's earned in loss. You want purpose, it's often found at the bottom, not at the top. Look back at your own life. Think about the moments that actually changed you. Not the easy days, not the highlights, not the times when everything was going according to plan. It was the betrayal, the rejection, the season where nothing made sense. Those were the moments that shaped your character, that sharpened your focus, that humbled your ego. That's not an accident. That's divine architecture. God doesn't waste pain, not a second of it. The things that feel like setbacks are often set-ups. And here's where people get it twisted. They think pain means something's gone wrong. But sometimes pain is the evidence that something real is being built. Just like a sculptor chips away at raw stone to reveal the masterpiece, life chips away at your pride, your comfort zones, your false beliefs to reveal who you're really meant to be. It's easy to love the idea of growth. Everyone wants the outcome, but no one wants the process. Growth hurts. Real transformation is not a spa day. It's surgery. It's breaking old patterns. It's letting go of identities that no longer serve you. It's being stripped of everything you thought you needed so you can become someone stronger than you imagined. And let's talk about timing, because pain often shows up when you least expect it. Just when you thought you had it all together, life throws a punch you didn't see coming. But what if that punch was protection? What if that closed door was saving you from something that looked good but would have destroyed your peace? You don't see it now, and that's okay. You're not supposed to see it all at once. You're supposed to walk through it. You're supposed to grow through it. So stop asking why it's so hard. Start asking what it's building in you. Maybe that heartbreak is building resilience. Maybe that business failure is building humility. Maybe that delay is strengthening your patience, so you're ready for what's next. Nothing is random. It's just that the process is deeper than what your eyes can see. Bottom line, pain is not the enemy. It's the tool, and when God allows pain, it's never wasted, it's targeted, it's precise, it's perfect. You don't have to like it, but you do have to learn from it, because every ounce of pain is shaping you for a purpose you can't fully see. Yet, here's something you need to lock in. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. We live in a culture that worships speed, fast results, fast answers, fast breakthroughs. But real growth, real transformation, real fulfillment. That's a slow burn, that's the stuff that takes time, and if you're measuring your progress based on how quickly things are showing up, you're going to constantly feel behind. The truth is, delay is not the same thing as denial. Delay might actually be the greatest form of protection in your life right now. Too many people give up in the waiting room. They confuse silence with absence. They think if God hasn't delivered what they asked for yet, it means the answer is no. But sometimes the answer is not yet because you're not ready. Or better yet, not yet because what's meant for you is still being prepared. And here's the part no one wants to hear. The waiting season is not passive. It's active. It's where your character is built. It's where your discipline gets forged. It's where your motives get tested. Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can control while trusting what you can't. It means showing up when no one's clapping. It means working hard with no spotlight. It means staying faithful when it feels pointless. But let me tell you something, nothing you're doing in the dark is being ignored. Every late night, every quiet sacrifice, every time you didn't quit, it all adds up. It's being used. Just because you can't see the fruit yet doesn't mean the seed isn't growing underground, and this is why timing is everything. If you get something too early, it can destroy you. You want that opportunity. Cool. Can you handle the responsibility that comes with it? You want the relationship. Great. Are you whole enough to love without depending on them for your worth? You want to lead. Amazing. Have you been humbled enough to lead with empathy instead of ego? That's what the delay is about. It's not punishment. It's preparation. It's alignment. You might think you're ready because you feel hungry, but God sees things you don't. He sees the weight you'd be carrying. He sees the pressure. He sees the spiritual, emotional, mental strength you're still building. That's why the wait matters. So don't get bitter in the delay. Don't lose your faith in the gap. Don't walk away from the process just because the promise hasn't shown up on your schedule. What's yours is still yours, and it will arrive on time, not on demand. And when it does, you'll realize the wait wasn't wasted. It was perfect. It shaped you, stretched you, and strengthened you in ways you couldn't have achieved any other way. Delay is not denial, it's divine development. Here's the truth most people avoid facing. Control is an illusion. You can plan every step. You can organize your day down to the minute. You can create vision boards, write goals, say affirmations. But life doesn't follow your script. And when it doesn't, what happens? Anxiety kicks in. Fear takes over. You spiral. Why? Because you built your peace on control instead of faith. But real peace, the kind that holds steady when everything around you is shaking, doesn't come from controlling your environment. It comes from trusting that there's a bigger plan at work, even when you don't understand it. Most people are obsessed with certainty. They want the map before they take the first step. They want a guarantee before they commit to the journey. But that's not how life works. That's not how faith works. If you're waiting for certainty, you'll never move, because there will always be variables you can't predict, outcomes you can't control, and challenges you didn't expect. The ones who win aren't the ones who control everything. They are the ones who know how to trust through uncertainty. They've trained their hearts to believe that even when the road curves, the destination is still intact. When you grip your plans too tightly, you end up white, knuckling your way through life, trying to force outcomes that aren't meant for you, and exhausting yourself in the process. And here's the crazy part: the tighter you hold on, the more out of control you feel. You end up playing God in your own story instead of playing your role and letting the author do what he does best, write something better than you imagined. Faith isn't just believing everything will work out. It's acting like it even when it hasn't yet. It's showing up on the days that don't make sense. It's moving forward when the fog hasn't cleared. It's letting go of your obsession with outcomes and anchoring your peace in the belief that if you're doing the right things, the right results will show up, even if it takes longer than you want. And listen, letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you don't plan or hustle or execute. It means you do all of that from a grounded place, not a desperate one. It means you build, but you're not building out of fear. You're building with the confidence that what's meant for you will not miss you, and what misses you was never meant to stay. That's real strength. That's real faith. That's how you move through life with power, by holding your plans with open hands, not clenched fists. When you surrender the illusion of control, you make space for peace, for clarity, and for the kind of outcomes that only divine timing can deliver. Let go, not because you're giving up, but because you're finally trusting that the one who sees the whole picture knows exactly what he's doing. What if I told you the thing that's breaking you right now is actually building you into who you're meant to become? What if I told you that the breakdown you're experiencing is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a better one? Most people run from brokenness. They think that being shattered means they've failed, that if they're hurting, it must mean something went terribly wrong. But in reality, brokenness is often where the real breakthrough begins. There are lessons that can only be learned in the dark. There's a depth of wisdom that only comes when life has stripped away all your comfort, your pride, your certainty. That's when you start asking deeper questions. That's when you stop pretending. That's when you finally slow down long enough to listen, not just to yourself, but to what God is really saying. And sometimes that voice doesn't show up until everything else goes quiet, until the noise of your plans, your expectations, your timeline goes silent. You see, when life breaks you, it exposes what was never strong in the first place. It reveals what was fake. It shakes off what was shallow. And that's not cruelty, that's mercy. That's how you get to truth. That's how you become real. Some of the strongest people you know didn't become that way because life was easy. They became strong because life broke them, and they chose to rise through it instead of collapse under it. Your pain doesn't disqualify you. Your past doesn't cancel your purpose. The broken parts of your story don't make you less valuable. They make you more relatable, more compassionate, more effective. Nobody connects with perfection. People connect with honesty. They connect with scars, not masks. So stop hiding the places you've been hurt. Stop pretending you've got it all together, because your breakthrough isn't just for you. It's going to help somebody else survive their broken season. And here's the deeper truth. Sometimes God allows the breaking to realign you, to wake you up, to get your attention, to move you away from what's comfortable and toward what's calling. The job that didn't work out, the person who left, the plan that fell through. Maybe they had to. Maybe they were taking up space where your real blessing needed to land. It hurts, yes, but healing is often hidden in the hurt. So don't curse your brokenness. Don't numb it. Don't run from it. Face it. Feel it. Let it teach you. Let it refine you. Because what's breaking you is also shaping you. It's preparing you for something you can't even imagine yet. It's breaking the old so the new can begin. And when that breakthrough comes, when you finally rise from the ashes, you'll realize it wasn't a setback. It was surgery, it was sacred, and it was perfect. You're not always going to get the full picture before you're asked to move. That's just how it works. If you're waiting for everything to make sense before you start walking in purpose, you'll be waiting forever. Too many people are stuck because they're looking for proof before they act. Proof that the risk will pay off, proof that the relationship will last, proof that the dream will succeed. But purpose doesn't work like that. Purpose asks you to move without knowing exactly where the road ends. Purpose asks for trust before it offers confirmation. We live in a world that wants guarantees. We want a blueprint. We want the ending written in the contract before we take the first step. But that's not faith. That's not growth. That's not how lives are transformed. The people who actually walk into their destiny are the ones who are willing to go first, willing to start with nothing but conviction and a call in their spirit. They didn't wait for applause. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't wait for the map to be handed to them. They showed up with purpose when the proof was nowhere in sight. You've got to understand something. You don't find purpose by sitting still, overthinking every detail. You find it by showing up, by doing the work, by giving what you've got even when it doesn't feel like enough. You find it by serving, by loving, by helping, by building, not because you know exactly what it's all for, but because deep down you believe it matters. And here's what happens when you live that way. Clarity shows up after commitment. The path becomes visible after you take the first few steps. The doors start opening after you walk toward them, not before. Waiting for perfect conditions is just fear in disguise. It's a way of protecting your ego, because if you don't start, you can't fail, and if you can't fail, you can't get hurt. But guess what? You also don't grow. You don't evolve. You don't fulfill what you were created to do. And trust me, that quiet regret will eat at you more than any failure ever could. Purpose demands risk. It demands movement. It asks you to believe in what's not visible yet. But when you start walking in it, even when it's messy, even when it's unclear, something powerful happens. You become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about change, you create it. You stop looking for signs and start becoming one. You stop asking for a guarantee and start becoming the evidence that purpose was real all along. So no, you won't always have proof, but you will always have purpose, and that's more than enough to begin. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just take the next step. Faith fills in the rest. Here's what it all comes down to: you're not here by accident. Your journey, your pain, your delays, your confusion, even your breakdowns, they all serve a purpose greater than what you can currently see. The mistake most people make is thinking that God's perfection looks like comfort. It doesn't. It looks like transformation, and transformation rarely feels good when you're going through it. You've got to understand that just because something is mysterious doesn't mean it's meaningless. Just because it hurts doesn't mean it's harmful. Just because it's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. The plan isn't broken, your perspective is limited. You're looking at life through a keyhole while God sees the entire blueprint. And when you can finally trust that, even in the dark, even in the silence, even in the delay, that's when you start living from strength instead of survival, from peace instead of panic. This speech isn't about motivational fluff. It's not about pretending things are okay when they're not. It's about choosing faith when fear is louder. It's about holding your ground when everything in you wants to run. It's about remembering that God's ways are not random, they're just bigger than your understanding. And that's not something to fear, that's something to rest in. You're not being forgotten, you're being forged. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. The delay is development, the pain is preparation. The silence is strategy, and the brokenness, that's the soil where the strongest roots are grown. So walk forward even when the path isn't clear. Keep building even when the results aren't instant. Stay faithful even when it doesn't feel fair. Because on the other side of this season is not just a new outcome, it's a new you, stronger, wiser, bolder, more aligned with your purpose than ever before. And one day you'll look back not with regret, but with clarity. You'll see how the mystery was actually the method, how the detours were divine, and how every piece, no matter how painful, fit into a plan that was never falling apart, it was falling into place. That's the power of trusting that God's ways are mysterious, but perfect always.